So today we will be animating a burning fire using a technique called straight ahead. Straight ahead is where you animate straight ahead from the first frame all the way to the end of your animation. So for this workshop you will need a pack of tracing paper, some felt tip pens of assorted colours, pencils, a smartphone with Stop Motion Studio downloaded on it, a rubber and a pair of scissors. So if you want to go grab those things, then we'll start to animate. So to start we need to create all the drawings for our animation. And what you'll see here is I have a variety of Sharpies at different colours. I'll separate these into two. So these are my colours for the fire, and these are my colours for the logs that the fire will be burning on. So we have an orange, we have a grey for the smoke, and we have a yellow. So the orange and the yellow will kind of make up the fire. And obviously the grey here is going to be for the smoke kind of coming off the fire. And here I have a brown Sharpie and a black Sharpie. Now, these are just the colours that I have chosen. You can choose whatever colours you want, really. But to start, we're going to take some of our tracing paper, and I have some already made up here. I'm going to get our tracing paper, and we are going to draw out our log fire. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a brown, so the drawing the kind of brown of the wood behind, and then I'm going to go and do an outline of the wood in black after that. So to start we are going to draw a couple of logs for our log fire. As you can see here, I'm sort of very roughly drawing out my wooden logs here, and as you'll know, wood has sort of twigs and branches kind of coming off it. And if you've ever been around a particularly kind of wild fire, anything kind of gets thrown in a fire. There you go, so there's one of my logs. So I'm just going to very quickly draw this up. I'm going to have a log kind of resting on top of this log. Okay, I'm going to get that inside of the log there, that circle indicating the inside of the log. And I might have a final third log kind of. Let's have that over here as well. Right. Okay, I might do another branch kind of poking out. Okay, so great thing about Sharpies is they dry quite quickly. I'm going to get my black Sharpie here. I'm going to draw some lines around my logs here so that we can sort of bring out a bit of detail in the lines of the bark here. Yeah. Maybe to pick out those branches there. Do the same here. So, you know, just try and make it a little bit more tree-like. Okay, so that's pretty good. So it's quite simple and very easy to do. You know, you could go on to Google and look at some logs for reference if you wanted. So that could be quite useful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to draw the fire for my log. Now, what you want to think about doing, you want to do about 12 different frames for your fire. And remember, because we're doing straight ahead drawing, and what we want for these drawings is a different pattern of fire every time you draw it. So for the first one, I'm going to get my yellow pencil, Sharpie, my orange and my grey. I'm going to start with the yellow, and with the yellow I'm going to draw the outline of my fire. Okay, so remember, there's no kind of pattern to this, right? We want to make them all random and all different. So I'm going to just kind of go where my hand or my mind takes me for each one there. So you see how I've drawn all those flames there. I'm going to fill those in. I'm going to try and get the flamed over the fire, the wood of the fire, sorry. There we are. And then I'm just going to use some of this orange to bring out the kind of hot elements of the fire at the bottom. So again, quite kind of sort of random. What I might do as well is I might just kind of make a few kind of spitting flames, or the kind of flames coming off the fire, kind of give it a little bit more kind of movement to the animation. I'm going to get my grey here, and I'm going to start just kind of making some random kind of smoke-like lines coming off the fire here. Okay, so that's my first one. I'm going to do 12 of these, so kind of keep that round so you can see it for reference, but you're not going to remember, we're not copying. So here I've got my second sheet, or my second frame, and I'm just simply going to do the same thing again. There you go, kind of making it as different as possible. So we're not copying the one before, we're making sure that each frame, the fire, is somewhat different to the fire before. And as I said, in that straight ahead form of animation, you're going to kind of get this quite nice erratic style of animation, which is very, very good for things like fire, water, wind, anything that's slightly more erratic. Okay, so if I can speed up a little bit. There's my smoke. Doesn't matter how you draw it, where you put it. So remember, you're going to do 12 of these. I'll do one more for you. Yeah, I've got another piece of paper there. My yellow. As you can see, I'm being, quite loose with this. I think that's how you should approach it. With those little spitting bits of fire coming off again. Okay. I'll do some more smoke. Brilliant. So what you want to do, go ahead and make 12 of those. And obviously, because you don't want to watch me do 12 of them, I have made 12 already. And once you've done all of that, and you have your 12 frames, here we go, and you have your fire, we can move over to Stop Motion Studio and make our animation. Okay, so you can see to start, I have placed my log frame in the center of my light box, and I have placed it down using transparent tape. I've done this so that it doesn't move around. So first of all, I'm going to grab my first flame frame, and I'm going to take a picture. There you go. And I'm going to grab my second flame frame and just place it over there. As you can use the onion layers as reference so that you're making sure they're in the right place. This doesn't really matter all too much because remember, we're kind of going for that erratic, straight ahead type of animation. Grab your third frame. And really, you're just going to continue doing that through all 12 frames. So, when you finish with that, when you've done all 12 of your flame frames, go back to the beginning of your animation, press play. And as you can see, you have a burning fire. Pretty simple stuff. That's straight ahead animation.